dear friends. Hello. How are you? How is your day? I am snuggled into morning time with a cup of hot coffee, and I've been journaling. I've been talking on Marco to my friend Val. We've been brainstorming, and yeah, I have a few pages of some ideas of some things that I want to start like here. Like my brainstorming, it's funny how this is all taking shape because I tend to be working about 3 to 4 weeks in advance. Like, yeah, I think that makes sense. That I'm thinking and working for like what am I going to be doing a month from now because I already have like the next month kind of thought out and scheduled. That's my attempt at consistency. Is that at least if I'm gonna change, I'm gonna give people some notice. And that's the best I can do. And even then, I might change unexpectedly, like that Gemini, that mutable energy, it's just always looking for the best idea. And that means that we change our mind often because, as you get new information, as you get new ideas, sometimes the best one, it shifts and you got to be ready to roll with that. So yeah, I think that's probably one of my superpowers at this point, but something that I really beat myself up for a lot, like earlier in life, and like kind of forced myself into consistency, or tried to. And that just like doesn't usually work, like when we deny our energy. I think that's a lot of what my like anxiety and depression was about, was like trying to force myself into a rhythm and a flow that just like literally was not built for me. And in that, I'm referring to trying to get married. I'm referring to working in a corporate job for 5.5 years. Although that was like brilliant experience to get. I'm very thankful that I did that. But yeah, it did teach me a lot about what isn't a good fit for me, and which obviously helps me clarify like what is going to be a good fit. So, now I know I learned through experience that I belong in a somewhat isolated environment. And I really love to be able to go with my own flow. I like to have my own ideas, and when things get boring, I like the freedom to leave them behind. I do not like to be bored. So it does look a bit like a transient lifestyle. I have a couple friends that refer to me as an internet gypsy, which I thoroughly enjoy that name. I tried at one point to name my Facebook page Internet Gypsy, and Facebook said I was being offensive. And I don't really know how to take that. So anyways, we didn't go down that path, like got a little block there. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. I actually had a direction that I wanted to go towards, which was I've learned how to recognize signs of progress even before the physical manifestation. So like, for example, the goal I have is to give, and I just happened to go back and somebody messaged me about episode 5, Give Fewer Fucks, and was like, this was a great episode. And so I went back and listened to it, and oh my goodness, like, I think I said at the end of the episode that like I really needed to hear this, and I did. I needed to hear it again today. It refreshed my vigor around giving fewer fucks, and I loved that. And I'm recognizing that I am inching my way along this path. I can see that, like, somebody asked on one of the social media groups I'm on about like, how do you know when you've up leveled? How do you know when you've shifted your vibration? And I wrote back, it's when you start seeing new experiences, like you start having new ideas and you see new things in the world that you didn't see before. That's because you've changed your vibrational set point, and now the world looks different to you because you're standing in a different place vibrationally. And so I'm recognizing signs of progress. Have I posted about my spiritual work on my personal Facebook page, which is kind of like my benchmark for like how big of a fuck do I give? It's still pretty big because I haven't done that yet. I really haven't. But I am going through this unfolding. A couple days ago, I got this like wild idea that I wanted to rename my practice. And I've learned that when I get that urge, I used to really spin my wheels and like, okay, now it's my job to come up with a name that is going to be suitable across all platforms and that's going to really represent the depth and the breadth of what I'm doing with my work. And anymore, I've learned that when I get that urge that like I want to rename my practice, I now know I spent very, very little time, some, not a lot, tiny bit of time spinning my wheels. And then I remembered, oh, yeah, when I get the idea of it, that's just me clicking in to be a vibrational like match to this thing that already exists in the vortex. I'm doing air quotes. That's what Abraham calls it, in the vortex. It exists in vibrational reality. We just have to raise our frequency to match whatever manifestation it is that we want. And then that manifestation can materialize in us or around us because we're a vibrational match to it. That's how law of attraction works. So I got the idea, like it came into my awareness that the name of my practice needs to change, was basically like this. And it was a nervous energy. It was like change is coming. And I like that feeling. I really like that feeling. I adore change. I absolutely do, because I love to learn. I always want new stimulation of some sort around me in my environment, in my mental pursuits, and my friends and whatever. And so I get this idea that the name needs to change. This energy is with me. And I spent almost no time spinning my wheels before I remembered that just means that a manifestation is coming. That this is like smelling the banana bread in the oven while it's baking. Like when you first put it in there, when it's all soupy, it doesn't smell like anything. And then when it starts to bake and change and transform and make its transformation from, in this whole metaphor, like from non-physical to physical, that idea was just like catching the scent of this thing that's coming. And so rather than really try to use my thinking mind to come up with an idea, I used my feeling body to like more feel into what is my practice? Like what is this work that I am doing, that I see myself doing, that I conceive of myself doing for the rest of my life? I always say, like, I'm not looking for something that I want to retire from someday. Like this is what I want to do with my life. And I'm very much in the very beginning stages of that. And so as I loosened up, as I relaxed into the knowing that something was coming, and it wasn't for me to necessarily come up with the idea so much as allow the idea to fall into my mind, which is exactly what happened. And it took just like a tiny baby little amount of scripting. And scripting, I do the air quotes even when you guys can't see me, just so you know, but I think you can hear it in my voice when I'm doing air quotes. But yes, scripting is a vocab word, again, that Abraham teaches about. And it's about writing it the way that it is in the vortex where it already exists. Like feel your way towards that. And so it was like things like, my practice is finding my own authentic self. My practice is regularly facing my own fear to step outside my comfort zone and live more authentically. My practice is to demonstrate and like tell the honest story about how that all unfolded to anybody who wants to listen. And that's basically it. Like that's how I see what I'm doing here. And then again, like whoever wants to listen, whoever wants to rendezvous or like become a vibrational match with this information, it's there. And like that's really not my part of it. My part of it is very much the inside of like I'm just doing this. I'm trying to be it myself. I'm trying to to walk the walk of this talk that I'm talking, and to report back on how it's going. So that's basically what I'm doing. And so that felt really good to kind of settle into that's what it is. And not long after that, I'm sitting there doing something completely unrelated, and all of a sudden, the name Owning Authenticity pops into my head. And there are a lot of different reasons why I love it and I think it's perfect. But as I go and search across platforms, that username is like available everywhere. So, yeah, that was also something that with intentional gifts, it was taken in some places. And so I always knew that that's not the perfect fit, but that's good enough to get started and get going and get out there. And then when I think of the perfect name, I'll change it and everyone will be totally cool because that's just, what my grid typically fills in with is cool people. So yeah, that's like, I recognize this name of Owning Authenticity, and I got as far as doing some of this rebrand. So I made a little list of here are all the places that I need to change it. Like, Instagram, I didn't even have a profile. So I went ahead and set that up. So it's already Owning Authenticity. Facebook is a whole change. It requires graphics and on and on. So I haven't done that yet. My .com, I am working on the new website. I spent a couple hours on that yesterday and it's coming right along and I'm really loving it. It's so much better than my last one. So I'm loving like building that from the ground up. My YouTube has already been transitioned. My Twitter, that it didn't exist yet either. And so that I went ahead and created an account. So I did some of it. I did the low hanging fruit, and the rest of it will just be fun for another day. So the transition is ongoing to becoming rebranded as Owning Authenticity. But I really do connect and resonate with that name in terms of exactly describing the practice that I just listed, that this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to own my own authenticity. Like, it's easy enough for people to get on stage and try to tell you what you should be doing with your life. And almost always I'm like, yeah, like I'll show you mine if you show me yours. And most people don't like to put their work in progress part out there. And that's where I can't be like that because I'm constantly changing. Like, I'm never going to be done. I'm never going to be fully settled. The name of the company, it might change again. And you know what? I'm going to manifest cool people around me if it does. That's, again, just how I roll. But I've learned that all of this that's happening. Well, okay, one more piece and then I'll wrap it up. But so as I'm rebranding into Owning Authenticity, and, even while I'm not working on it, I'm still marinating in that whole idea. I can totally see myself posting on my personal Facebook page that I am the founder and owner of Owning Authenticity, and that is my current job, and that, you can click on it and go to my business Facebook page, list my website on my personal Facebook profile. From knowing me personally, you can get to my spiritual work. I got feedback the other day that just made me laugh because it's so the universe reflecting what's inside of me. And she's like, you're really hard to find. That was basically the bottom line of what she was saying. And it was some website feedback. It was some personal Facebook page feedback. She's like, I just couldn't get a hold of you. Like, I wanted to. And so I kept looking until eventually I did get there. But it took me, one, being persistent, and two, like, leaping from multiple different places before I ever got like a personal email address for you. And that's what she wanted because she could reach out to me. But yeah, her wording was just hilarious. She's like, you're really hard to find. And it got deep really quick because I was like, oh my gosh, like you're telling me that I need to rework my website, and I'm telling you that I need to rework my vibration because exactly. I don't want to be found. Like, by my personal Facebook page and all the friends, I'm doing air quotes, all the friends that I have connected to that personal Facebook page, it's really turned into like, it is more a business Carly page for my work here in my hometown, opening the grocery store and connecting with the community and doing all of that. I used my personal Facebook page. So that personal Facebook page is extremely well connected into the community that I live in physically. So like, I'm going to see these people in real life on a regular basis, the ones that are going to see it when I put it on my personal Facebook page. So it's so funny because this morning, just before I came on here, I'm like, are you really going to talk again about caring less about what other people think about you? Like, haven't we heard enough about that? Aren't we going to like talk about something else? And I'm like, you know what? One, I'm still going through it. It's a big fucking topic and I'm working on it. And so this is me responding to myself. And two, I am making progress. And that's where, I have learned to see the progress, see that me even just getting the vision, getting the idea that I am working towards feeling comfortable. I almost would be comfortable posting owning authenticity as my new job on my personal Facebook page. And anybody, like in that same conversation where she gave me the feedback about you're hard to find, Val said, she posted her podcast on her personal Facebook page. And she's like, I have like thousands of friends and like 20 people watched it. So it's not as, like, like we all have a tendency to like inflate our own self-importance, basically, is what she's giving to me. And that I'm not as central to people's lives as I might be thinking that I am. And, obviously I had to acknowledge that she's 100% correct, that you're right. Like, I assume that, every single one of my Facebook people are going to see this. Oh my God. Like, no, like I'm on very few people's radar, I'm sure. Like, much fewer than I think I am in my mind. So that was also a helpful reminder that, that was like a real part of my evolution, like back when I was learning self-love. And this was a little bit going into like, how do you get over social anxiety and how do you be comfortable around other people? Oh, dang it. And I just lost it, but it was really good. Let me see if I can get it. Oh, yeah, that people, they don't think about you as much as you're thinking that they are. Like, and think about it, because in my mind, I'm I'm thinking about myself and how I'm being received a lot of the time. That's where this anxiety is coming from, is the fact that I'm thinking and worrying about how I'm being received. Everyone is doing that. Everyone. That means that no one is looking at you the way that you think that they are. And this was something that like I really had to come to terms with for a minute, because it was a huge shift to like step out of that. And I think I'm telling the story now, which is just one of those moments where I'm calling myself out on my shit. I think this is me needing to go back and revisit that lesson on a deeper level and remember again that people are not thinking about you the way that you think that they are, right? They're thinking about themselves, just like you are. Oh, good times on the podcast. Okay, I feel really good about that. I think that's a good place to leave it. I love catching these little signs of progress along the way. And especially if you're an entrepreneur or an artist or a creator of any kind, like really like that's such an eternal, ongoing, never finished process that like the best definition of success that I personally use for myself is recognizing these little moments of progress along the way. So like, have I posted to my personal Facebook page about my spiritual work? No. Am I getting more comfortable with that idea? And am I like having new experiences as a result? Like, yes, it's obvious I'm raising my vibration around like being more self-empowered and being more empowered in my voice and being more authentic on the surface. And I'm having ideas and visions about adding this to my personal Facebook page. Like, it's coming. It doesn't have to happen for me to know that it's coming. And I love that I've learned to like recognize these little emotional shifts as the progress that I'm wanting to achieve, because I have emotional shifts every single day. Like, I shift my vibration upward a little tiny bit more every single day. And almost every day I'm getting to notice these little emotional sign markers that are like, you're coming along. And it's like, manifestation 30 miles. Next one, manifestation 29 miles. Manifestation, it's like you're getting closer. You are. you can give up at any time and like turn around and go back the other way, or just like sit down and have a breakdown on your path. But like those little mile markers of progress, of recognizing when you've raised your vibration, when you're having new ideas, you're thinking about it in a new way, let that be all you're ever wanting. And everything unfolds from that perspective. So thank you for letting me tell this story. Thank you to my friend who texted me about the 5th episode this morning so that I could watch it again today, because I definitely needed a refresher on giving fewer fucks. I'm feeling really good as I head into this day. I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you on the next one.